Welcome to the 3 Up, 3 Down podcast, a Dodgers Nation production. Be sure to check out all the great news, editorial, and podcast content on DodgersNation.com, including our flagship podcast, Blue Heaven, and Dodgers Dugout with Doug McCann. You can find me, your host for this 5-minute Dodgers podcast, Eric Elo. That is at EEULAU. Same handle on Twitter and Instagram. And something we touched on our last episode that we need to delve a little bit deeper into is the matchup between two surefire Hall of Famers in the Dodgers Clayton Kershaw and the Nationals Max Scherzer. Sunday marked only their third regular season meeting, which is just crazy. Just absolutely crazy. They met one time in the playoffs, both as starters in 2016 as Game 1, which the Dodgers won. Kershaw went on to save Game 5, which Scherzer started for the Nationals. And then in 2019, which we all know how that ended, Scherzer had a hold in the game that Kershaw started. But they just haven't met a lot considering that Scherzer has been in the NL since 2015. And one of their regular season appearances, Scherzer was a nobody on the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2008. Good job, Arizona Diamondbacks. Here's your tale of the tape with these guys. The two guys that is inarguable that they dominated the 2010s from the mound. They combined for 6 Cy Youngs. They combined to lead the NL in WHIP 8 times. 8 times. That's a lot. 15 All-Star appearances between the two of them. And I'm sure there's some Nationals blogger out there who thinks that Scherzer is better than Clayton Kershaw because of the playoff record, but I'm sorry. If you factor in that Astros World Series and you look at least their World Series ERAs, I think Kershaw would have the leg up on Max Scherzer on that. I didn't exactly break it down, but I stared at it for about 15 minutes and did some rough math. And I think if they weren't cheating, and yet, we're still not over that. Sorry, other people who aren't Dodger fans, which I don't know why you'd be watching this if you weren't a Dodger fan, but whatever. Maybe you just love baseball. Good for you. But it's Clayton Kershaw. And it's not by much. You see the career strikeouts. Scherzer has been more consistent in the strikeouts. He's been a little bit healthier, but they both had some issues there. But the main reason I would take our guy, Clayton Kershaw, over Max Scherzer is the 5 ERA titles, the pitching triple crown, and the MVP. Something which Scherzer has zero of. Absolutely zero. But either way, no matter what guy you think is better, the fact that you guys met up on Sunday for just the third time in the regular season, and maybe they'll meet up in this July, and maybe they'll meet up in the playoffs, although I hope they don't, because I hate when the Dodgers play the Nationals in the playoffs, because weird stuff happens. But it just doesn't, it's a seminal moment when these two guys face off against each other. It wasn't the best game. Scherzer and their head-to-head matchups has a little bit better of an ERA. I believe it's 3.5. Kershaw's have around 3.8. But I would still take our guy Clayton Kershaw. But they're both Hall of Famers, and hats off to both of them for dominating the decade. There's nothing to argue there. They dominated the 2010s. Look it up. And Kershaw with this just absolutely filthy signature pitch, this curveball. I mean, my God. What's not to like about that pitch? What's not to like? Tell me. I'm waiting as my computer's actually waiting. It's Clayton Kershaw. It's not by much, but shout out to these two legends. Another Dodgers legend, Justin Turner, is off to a hot start. And right now he is on pace. I'm recording this Wednesday night, but he is on pace to match his best batting average for the first half of the season, which was in 2017 when he hit 377. Right now he's on pace. But the exit velocity, I know he has a home run tonight already because I got the good old push alert. The exit velocity, 87.5 is a little low. His BABIP, league average, is about 300. He's at 400. What does BABIP mean? Batted balls in play. Meaning the amount of times he puts the ball in play that he gets a hit, it's a little bit high. And I think it's going to regress. However, for the record, rooting for Justin Turner, of course. And maybe this is the year he hits 350. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying he's going to have to start hitting the ball a little bit harder, which we've seen him do. And speaking of hitting the ball harder, and speaking of the Nationals, here's this solo shot bomb on Friday, ring day, to give the Dodgers the win. I'm absolutely rooting for Justin Turner. Absolutely. What's not to love? But let's just there's a couple things in his stats that give me pause. And the last thing I'll get to, real quick, is that's Kenley Jansen, that's Corey Knebel, and that's Blake Trinan. And maybe Dodger fans, just imagine that each of these guys have like 10 or 15 saves and maybe Kenley has 20. And that's okay. This could be the year that Dave Roberts and Andrew Friedman finally do closer by committee. There's nothing wrong with closer by committee. I think they have the stats to back it up. And I'm not saying this like people are upset by this idea, but this could finally be the year where Kenley doesn't have 30-plus saves because we're just not going to pitch him unless he's on 3 days rest, and that's just not going to happen as much with this Dodger team the way it's constructed right now. No one's upset, just throwing it out there that this could be the year where we have, Trinan could have 9 saves, Knebel could have 17, and Kenley finishes with 22, and we're all happy, and hopefully we're the number 1 seed and we're good to go. That is the 3 Up, 3 Down podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the other side, and I will see you next week. Be sure to check out DodgersNation.com. Subscribe, rate, review to all of our podcasts. Check out all the great work by our writing team there on the editorial and the news desk side, and we'll see you on the other side.